Welcome back to Straight Talk. So there was a recent article in the Montreal Gazette about the proposed wind farm and how the residents of the area where it's supposed to be are really against it. Surprise, surprise.
Oh my God, we only been talking about that for how long? And then day one, John D. and everybody, it's going to go and we're going to do all these
awesome.
things.
It's gonna be great.
The
It's
best
gonna
thing
be
since
great.
sliced bread. That's what they said about ADM before the
Well,
town
no,
blocked
but
it
you
out.
know the thing is the thing with ADM, and I've heard Bud Morris at different points talk about what would not fly in the community. And always trying to find something that would be a community.
Obviously,
thing.
the wind farm isn't flying.
Well,
in the
no,
community.
but like ADM was one, you know. So he talks about this widget factory deal. No, really, you know, you've heard it, and how. So this was like kind of a win-win thing. Okay, this because whatever the controversies might be, well, it's not here. It's win-win, and we have a opportunity to fly like an eagle, move in, and soar.
You know the problem with this, and I hate like how they keep saying this. That again, we decide we're going to go and do something without having somebody else's approval.
But we don't, well, they technically don't need it because according to the Gazette article that under the rules for Aboriginal wind projects, the consent of local councils is not required. It's like a loop.
I'm not talking about the local council because the wind farm's not going here. I'm talking about the individuals in Naperville.
No, that's what I mean.
No,
Their
that's what
local
she's
council.
getting at.
They don't need the consent of their.
They're the Indians now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're the Indians?
They're the
Oh, my
Indians
God.
now.
I thought it was like...
They don't have a say.
So we're going to do the same thing to them as everybody's done to us over the years.
But
We're going to do it.
No,
And
except
the landowners are saying that they want to do it, so you don't have a choice.
no. We talk about the Seaway and all of that stuff and how it happened and everything else. And there's some interesting stories there, but this is going to go down like this in Naperville. I mean, those people are not about to. They don't give a rat's. You know what the government of Quebec says about Aboriginal wind projects and everything else. Hey, Bailo, that ain't happening. Because those guys are going to organize politically, and they're going to say, no, we don't care what the government says, we don't want them here. And the whole thing with wind farms is, maybe the wave of the future, but, the thing is that they're not all that wonderful for the people who live by them.
Yeah, these are some of the things that the residents are complaining about. They think it will, like the wind farm will disfigure the landscape and diminish their quality of life. It would lower real estate values, disrupt bird migrations, and distress residents with their loud noises. And it's all understandable, but like at the same time, I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
Well, the thing is on the other side of that, it's like, I mean, you think about where the world is going in terms of needing to have an alternative for energy other than fossil fuels. Okay, and we've had hydroelectric projects. I mean, this is a big thing in Quebec, and it's always at the expense. I mean, it's at the expense of Native people. Sell your land, give us the land. We're taking the river, and so on. And we're gonna generate megawatts of cheap power, hydropower. We're gonna sell it to Con Ed down in New York, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now it's so people are doing wind farms. So the people here, they don't want them here. They don't want that in their backyard. They don't mind if it's 700 miles north and disrupting some native person's way of life.
But I'd
out
like
there.
to know how tall they are, because
It's like the War of the Worlds, man.
because according to Dewa, it's going to interfere with the flights at Trudeau Airport, so in Dorval. So it's going to be 500 feet high.
Have you ever seen them? Have you ever seen them coming through on the 132 on those massive tractor trailers? The segments for those things. Have you seen them?
I know, but they're not going to be that high. We have towers in this community.
I don't
that
think
are
it
I know,
has-
but I
higher
think
than that,
they're maybe.
I don't think it has to do with the actual height of them, but just the fact that what
The
it
wind?
does to the wind in the air.
Really.
Well, this is what Dewadunizakta
It's
is
gonna
saying.
whoomp whoomp, and the airplane's gonna go like.
But also, like, Dewadunizakta says that we don't have enough, I guess, amount of, like,
I
wind
think there's
here.
plenty of wind in Ganawagi.
But even opportunity for a very lame joke. But even if it was possible to have them in Ganawage, I don't think I'd want a wind farm here.
Well, they did. In fact, no. In all seriousness, they did. Maybe in the last 10 years, there was talk. I mean, maybe we should look at that as a native community. And so they did a study on the island. So thinking was, I mean, that's the river. It comes down. It's sort of a natural channel for wind, but there apparently wasn't enough. What you could do in a place like Onawage, which is, and there are a few people, maybe a couple of people that can say for sure, have gotten off the grid, a combination of wind and solar. If you go up Blind Ladies Hill,
My mom's neighbors do that,
yeah.
and like
No,
it's-
it does take an adjustment in lifestyle.
Mhm.
You can't have that computer going all night long, checking out,
Depends on how big
cyberspace.
how big your turbine is and the solar, but
Yeah,
you can run just like anywhere else.
but this
In
is
fact,
a-
if you're putting more electricity in, hydro buys it off you
yeah.
because it's putting it back to the.
I mean,
grid.
I think that's a whole other discussion, like in the community or in terms of values. At one point, like the Environment Office had this whole thing with the sustainable housing development and so on, the straw bale house, and you would think in a native community this would be, and then cigarettes broke big and everybody wanted mansions in the sky on Earth, and I don't know what they're gonna do when they can't afford to heat them anymore.
Well-
So, but this is a different thing. This is about a business prop.
Yeah, but it's, you know what, it's the same thing as, why now are we dealing with the acceptance of this after the fact that we're gonna put a proposal in? You don't understand what I mean? It's like saying that, okay, I'm gonna go to Ganawage and I'm gonna, they have gold there. So I'm gonna start, I'm gonna proposal, I'm gonna start digging holes in Ganawage because of the gold. Oh shit. Maybe I should ask them first and get their approval. Maybe the community doesn't want that. You know what I mean?
Well,
So in here, I mean, that's just an analogy,
Yeah.
but the same, wouldn't that have happened that they had that approval first, not just from the landowners, but from the town, and saying that, okay, do we have council's approval to do that, even though that you don't need it? Because at the end of the day, it's not 5 or 6 people that are in that community. There's a lot more in Napierville. It's like here saying, okay, they stop people from putting up cell towers on their property. Some people in this community wanted to put a cell tower, and they made an agreement with the person or the company, and then it wasn't an issue. And then all of a sudden, the neighbor said, no, you're not putting that there. And then they complained about it. No, you're not going to do that. So the council turned around and said that, we're not going to allow that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, this is the same issue. That somebody in Napierville is wants to make money off this project, and they have the property and the land
Well-
to do it. And
That's what the residents say, because they're the landowners, they're gonna profit off of this, but all the
what's it
residents
for us?
won't.
What's in it for
Well,
us?
the other thing, look, just to throw something in here, another angle. A couple of weeks back, there was a whole thing about parts from the nuclear power plants being disassembled and then shipped through the seaway, and then moved. And because Ganawage, along with Akwesasne, and maybe some other communities along the route, dropped red flags over it, passed resolutions saying that they didn't want this stuff passing through. There was a thing in the Gazette, and it said, "Well, thank God that they don't have any say in this matter." And then, so it sparked a response, an outrage response from the Grand Chief. Now that's Ganawage, and that's about this stuff coming through. And there are some people who are saying, even internally, that are saying, well, it's not nuclear sludge. I mean, it's not. It's like something that doesn't even get radioactive material into it. So in the cooling process, so they're moving and shipping it to Europe. So we complain, and I'm not saying we shouldn't complain, and I'm not saying that we don't have a right to be concerned for our community. But why is it okay for us and not for the people of Napierville?
I
Well, I
know.
think they are taking, like, Dewadunizakta is taking them into consideration. Like, they are planning, like, meetings to...
Yeah, but as Mike points out,
But that's what I question, whether, okay, they're gonna have these meetings, but even if if like a compromise isn't, like, I guess, settled or something, are they gonna go ahead with this proposal? Or-
no, you know what I think?
Not the
Honest to
proposal,
goodness?
Well, I mean,
but the
the-
project.
The project,
if
I think the project is
proposal for the
dead.
project.
I don't know, we'll
No,
see.
we'll see. I mean, but again, because you brought it up, Mike, and it's a point worth taking. That all of this discussion is now, well after the fact. You already went in it. I mean, it's like I went into your house and I took some of your personal belongings, and then you got upset about it. And I said, "Well, look, Mike, let me come back into your house and sit down and explain to you and negotiate with you about why it's a good thing that I took your goods."
And you know what? In hundreds of years, we've been complaining about the same damn thing that happens to us, and yet we're going to turn around and be just as asinine and do it to somebody else.
Well,
And
there's
with
a-
that,
Yes.
we're going to take a quick break.